It was a cool autumn evening in the quiet suburbs of Portland, Oregon, when Sarah found herself staring across the dinner table at her husband, Michael. The children had already gone upstairs to finish their homework, the dishes from their simple family meal still scattered across the table, and the faint hum of the dishwasher filled the silence between them. Michael's face looked tense, his hands clasped together in a way that told Sarah he had something on his mind. They had been married for nearly 20 years, long enough for Sarah to know when something heavy was weighing on his heart. "What is it, Michael?" she asked gently, her voice breaking the silence. He hesitated for a moment, looking down at his hands before meeting her eyes. "Sarah, I need to ask you something I've been holding in for a long time. But I don't know how you'll take it." Sarah's heart tightened. Her mind raced with possibilities. Was he sick? Was he thinking of leaving? She leaned forward slightly. "Just tell me. Whatever it is, I want to hear it." Michael took a deep breath. "I need you to promise me something. If anything ever happens to me, if I get sick, or worse, I need you to promise me that you won't shut yourself off from the world. I need you to promise me you'll let yourself find love again." Sarah blinked, speechless. That was the last thing she expected him to say. "Michael, why would you say something like that? You're healthy, we're fine. Why are you even thinking about this?" He reached across the table and took her hand. "Because I know you. You give everything to this family, to me, to the kids. And sometimes I worry that if I were gone, you'd just close yourself off. You'd live for everyone else and forget yourself. I don't want that for you." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes. She squeezed his hand tightly. "Don't talk like that. You're not going anywhere." "I know," he said with a faint smile. "But life is unpredictable. And I need to know that if something ever happened, you'd keep living, Sarah. You deserve happiness, no matter what." That night left Sarah lying awake in bed, staring at the ceiling as Michael slept soundly beside her. His words replayed over and over in her mind, filling her with emotions she couldn't quite untangle. Why would he ask such a thing? Did he know something she didn't? Or was it just the way life had worn him down, making him think about the future in ways most people tried to avoid? Over the following weeks, Sarah found herself paying closer attention to her husband. Michael was 45, still strong, still the man who fixed the leaky faucets and coached their son's soccer team. He laughed with their daughter, Emily, when she brought home her high school art projects, and he still kissed Sarah goodnight every evening. But sometimes she noticed the way he rubbed his temples after long days at work, or how his smile faded quicker than it used to. One chilly Saturday afternoon, while raking leaves in the front yard, Sarah finally asked him again. "Michael, about what you said the other night. Why now? Why that request?" Michael leaned on the rake, his breath visible in the cool air. "Because I've seen people we know fall apart after loss. Do you remember James from my office? His wife passed away, and it's been 3 years, but he's still barely living. He doesn't go out, he doesn't laugh, he just exists. I can't stand the thought of you living like that." Sarah wrapped her arms around herself, staring at the piles of leaves scattered across the lawn. "It's hard for me to even imagine life without you." He walked over and placed his hands on her shoulders, looking directly into her eyes. "I don't want you to imagine it. I just want you to promise me you won't give up on life if it ever comes to that." The depth of his love in that moment overwhelmed her. This wasn't a man planning to leave her. It was a man thinking of her happiness even in a future he prayed would never come. That winter, their family faced a challenge they hadn't anticipated. Michael was laid off from his job after the company downsized. It shook them financially, and Sarah could see the toll it took on him emotionally. But instead of letting it break them apart, they leaned on each other. Sarah took on extra hours at her job at the local library, and Michael picked up freelance work in IT while searching for something steady. Late one night, as they sat at the kitchen table going over bills, Sarah looked at him and said softly, "You know, you once asked me to promise not to stop living if something happened to you. But I need you to promise me something too." He looked up, tired but attentive. "What's that?" "Promise me you won't give up on yourself either. Promise me you'll never stop fighting for us, for you, for the kids. Because we need you." His eyes softened, and he reached for her hand. "I promise." Months later, Michael found a new job, and though things weren't perfect, their bond had deepened. Sarah realized that his strange request had forced her to confront the fragility of life, but it also reminded her of the strength of their love. One evening in spring, while sitting on the back porch watching the sunset, Sarah finally whispered, "Michael, that night you asked me to promise, it left me speechless. But I need you to know something. If I ever had to face life without you, I don't know if I could move on the way you want me to. Not because I'd be closing myself off, but because what we have feels irreplaceable. You're not just my husband. You're my best friend, my partner, my safe place. I'd carry you with me in everything." Michael's eyes glistened as he pulled her close. "That's all I could ever ask for." Their children, Emily and Daniel, grew up watching a marriage that wasn't perfect but was built on love, honesty, and resilience. Years later, when Emily was in college, she told her mother, "You and Dad taught me what real love looks like. It's not just the easy days, it's the hard ones too. It's the promises you keep, even when they're painful." Sarah smiled through tears. "Yes, sweetheart. Real love is about choosing each other every single day." And that was the lesson Sarah carried from that night when Michael made his strange request. It wasn't about imagining loss, but about understanding love in its truest form, love that cared more for the other person's future than for one's own fears. It was a reminder that every day was precious, every word mattered, and that the promises made in the quiet of an autumn night could change the way a heart understood love forever.